So this is how you can use this review point, which is account balance checks. So it highlights mainly three types of problem where accounts with zero balance, accounts with unusual balance, and accounts violating threshold limit. So let's just talk about accounts with zero balance. So what it does is that if there are any accounts where you typically expect zero balance, but if it is not zero for whatever reasons, then it's gonna show up here. So let's just say you may have a suspense account or some kinds of clearing account that you might be using it for some temporary purpose, and you would always expect to show a zero balance in that particular account. So those accounts will show up here. So I mean, by default, based on some configuration, based on some predefined characters, it's going to automatically select those accounts for you. So if any account has a word like clearing account, or let's just say suspense account, it's going to automatically select it for you. And that way you will see if there are any accounts with the conflict, it will show up here. If you need to change something, like let's just say the account got mapped here incorrectly, you can just click here on this gear icon and you can change the mapping here. If you need to add some more accounts here in this list, you can even do that too. Okay. Now let's just say even when there is a conflict and you still think that this is good to go because you know that this account will be fine in the future, you can actually do mark as reviewed and that account will disappear from here, right? So mark as reviewed means you're telling Xenett it's good to go. There is no problem with that. If you want to see those reviewed accounts back, just simply click here and you'll also be able to see those accounts back here in the list. By default, we only show you the accounts with the conflict. If you want to see the match ones, then you can see the match one. If you want to see all of them together, you can see all of them together as well, right? So that way these accounts with zero balance work. Now accounts with unusual balance means if there are any, in profit and loss balance sheets, we always expect accounts to show a positive balance. But then there are certain accounts where you always expect negative balance. So let's just say accounts like refunds, discounts, where you will expect a negative balance with these accounts. So what we do here, if there were any accounts where you were expecting a positive balance, but for whatever reason it's showing negative balance, it's gonna show up here as conflict. And vice versa. So if there were any accounts where you were expecting a negative balance, but the actual balance is positive, it will show up here. So the good example is, let's just say cash on hand. You will never expect cash on hand to show a negative balance. But for whatever reason, if it shows negative balance, it's gonna show up here. And then in this particular case, you can then find out like why it's negative, and based on that you can fix it, right? So that's accounts with unusual balance. Now the third one is accounts with violating the threshold limit. So here you can define your own custom limit. So when you click on setting here, you could say, you could say that, like let's just say rent account, you always expect this account to be showing this particular amount. So you can even set the configuration at the account level, and if there is any violation with that limit, it will show up here. So this is like where you can define your own threshold limit, and if there is a problem with that, if it's not meeting, then it will show up here.